founder of Cali Creative. And I think this is going. Are we live? Yeah. All right. In this short little video, I wanted to cover 9 tips and things that we learned when our daughter moved from her crib to her toddler bed. It wasn't too long ago. We had put our daughter down for a nap in her crib, and about 15 minutes later, we heard a knocking at the door. My wife and I looked at each other and were like, "Didn't we just put her down for a nap?" And we cautiously walked over to the door, opened it up, and sure enough, she'd climbed right out of her crib. Thankfully, there was no bumps or bruises. She managed it like a champ, but yeah, it was at that time suddenly time for us to move her to her big girl bed. And maybe you have had this experience, or you are looking for some tips about how to transition your child from the crib to the toddler bed. So I wanted to just share some of the things that I learned, some of the things that we learned. The first tip that I wanted to cover is to re-baby-proof your room. Had we had more time, I would have spent more time watching Emily play in her room, because our kids are the best indicators and the best teachers for what kind of baby-proofing needs to be done. One of the things that we ran into that scared us a little bit, I had gone through and attached everything to the walls, all of the dressers and the nightstand and the bookshelf. I had attached all of those to the wall, but the one thing that I forgot to attach to the wall was the dresser that was in her closet. And she pulled out the drawers and started using those as a ladder to climb up. Thankfully, we caught that, and I'm thankful that I spent the time watching her so that we figured that out before something really bad happened. So first tip is to re-baby-proof the room. Second thing that we learned, our daughter fell out of her bed, her new toddler bed, at least 10 times when she first started sleeping in it. You can think of it in 2 different ways. One, they're going to learn their lesson. I rarely fall out of my bed. Most people I know rarely fall out of your bed. So at some point, your kid's going to learn not to fall out of the bed. But one thing that you can do that's kind of helpful is take one of those swim noodles, one of those long swim noodles, and stick it underneath the sheet on the side of the bed that they could potentially fall out of. And that just creates like a little hump, a little barrier for them to keep them in their bed. So that's one thing that you can do. The third thing that we do, the third tip that I have for you, is to have a big girl or a big boy conversation with your kid about the new responsibilities of staying in bed and getting to sleep in a big girl bed or a big boy bed. And there's responsibilities that come with that. And have an open and honest conversation with your kid about it. They don't probably understand everything, but as I'm sure you know, kids understand a whole lot. And when you can have that conversation with them and talk with them about the responsibilities and the new opportunities and challenges that they're going to experience and face by transitioning to their toddler bed, when you can have those conversations, then you're starting that healthy interaction and conversation with your kid. The fourth tip that we have is find a good toddler pillow. I am a little bit biased. We are a little bit biased because we think that we sell and make the best toddler pillow on the market. If you want to learn more, head over to our website. But that whole business came about out of a search for a good pillow for our daughter to sleep with. So take the time, find something. When your child starts asking for a pillow, find a really good pillow and give it to them. Preferably something that's organic, because we didn't want our child sleeping next to cotton that had been grown with herbicides and pesticides and fungicides and all of that. So look for an organic one, and check out our website. There's a discount coupon on our website if you check that out. The fifth tip that I have for you is to allow for plenty of time prior to putting them to bed those first couple of nights. Start that whole process early. You're going to have to, part of putting Emily down for bed was developing that routine with her. And when the routine changes, allow for some extra time to develop what that new routine looks like. The sixth thing that we have is figure out what your rules are. The sixth tip is figure out what your rules are and be firm with them. If you're going to allow your toddler to get up in the middle of the night, you're going to cause yourself a lot of headaches. So you got to figure out how to kind of cut that down. There's a really cool tool on Amazon. It's a little alarm clock that goes green when it's time to get up and is red when it's time to stay in bed. We don't have it, but I've heard from my other parent friends that it works really well. So when you do talk about your rules with your partner and figure out what they are and stick to them. If your toddler is sick, how are you going to handle that? Are they going to be able to sleep in bed with you? Or are you going to go cuddle with them? Talk about it on the front end because it's really hard in the moment to stick to those rules. And we would have saved ourselves a lot of headache. We would have probably slept a lot better had we talked about our rules and stuck to them. The seventh tip I have from you is re-baby-proof your room. I know I went through this and covered it already, but you have a toddler, you know, you get it, go back and do it again. Re-baby-proof the room. Take a look. Spend time watching them play in their room. The eighth tip I have is put those handle guards that make it impossible for kids to open the door and adults to open the door. Put those on the door. There's nothing worse than there's not a worse feeling than waking up in the middle of the night with your 2-year-old having climbed up the stairs and knocking on your door, and it gives you half a heart attack. So keep them in their room in a confined, safe spot. And that's one more tip. The ninth tip I have for you is to be patient and embrace the changes that are going on in their lives. It's exciting. It's scary. You're not perfect. Your kid's not perfect. They're learning. They're growing. And it's an adventure that we're all on. And it's a big step. It's a big change. And it's a fun change. But, yeah, those are the 9 tips that I have for you today about how to transition from a crib to a toddler bed. If you found this information useful, we would love it if you'd like us on Facebook or visit our website. If you know somebody that would find this information useful, share it with them. That's all I have for you today. Have a great one. We'll talk soon.